Thank you for coming to today's session on organizing your curriculum with modules. And today's webinar, just so you know, will be recorded and will be sent out tomorrow by email. If you have questions during the session, please enter them in the chat window and we'll address them during the session or at the end of the webinar. And I will just send a quick message here in the chat so you know where that is. And as well, today our webinar is brought to you by Human Resources. Human Resources is a worldwide leader in the development and provision of online personal assessments, student success, and education and career development programs. That includes a free resume service that you can learn more about at humanresources.com. And we're very fortunate to have Dr. Marsha Fralick with us today to share how she organizes her first year experience curriculum in Canvas. A little bit about Dr. Fralick. Dr. Marsha Fralick taught college success courses for 45 years and is a frequent presenter at conferences related to student success. She's the author of the College and Career Success line of textbooks. Her college success program in the San Diego area received many awards from students and faculty and was designated an exemplary program by the California Community Colleges Board of Governors. Today's topic is based on content from the 2025 10th edition of College and Career Success. And I'd like to welcome Marsha to today's call.
It's great to be here with everyone. And today I'll be sharing some organizational tips for Canvas or other course management systems. I'm excited to share these things about modules. I think one that maybe people haven't seen very much are the integrated textbook chapters and interactive course material, being able to view that material online, grade it online, and have that grade automatically placed in the gradebook. So these are topics that I will cover today in the modules: how I use learning outcomes, how I've integrated the textbook chapters, the assignments, quizzes. I'll show you the automated grading that goes beyond what you can do in Canvas, how to view student work online, how they can view your comments online. I'm from San Diego, California, and in California we use Canvas, and so I'll be using Canvas for my demo, but this could also work in other systems like Blackboard, Moodle, or D2L Brightspace. At this point, I'm going into my Canvas container, and I will put up on the screen access to my Canvas container so that you could use it. You could take a look at it in the future. Some faculty have even downloaded into a demo container in their own account, which is fine with me. So I'll give you the login information. So this is my Canvas container here. And this first one is the 2025 version. So this is my home page. I have the announcements. I have my office hours. Students can click on the textbook and it takes them to a site where they can purchase the textbook online so they don't have to go through the bookstore and it's less expensive. Or the college could purchase access codes and give these out to students. And then I have my curriculum also organized by dates. That's the traditional way to do it. But I'm highlighting today how I'm using modules to organize my course. The first module is the orientation. And by the way, I do teach online, but this can be easily adapted for hybrid or face-to-face courses. So the first week is orientation. And the first thing I have on there is a video introduction. And so the video introduction is what I think are the most important things that students will be learning that week. And I have a video that I've created. And I have created an avatar.
Welcome to Counseling 120. This could be one of the best courses you've ever taken. It will help you to learn about your personal strengths and match them to a major and career. You will discover learning strategies that will make it easier to remember what you've studied and make learning more efficient. You will also acquire skills that will increase success throughout life. You will learn about what happiness means to you and begin to take the steps to achieve happiness in life. This course begins with an orientation designed to help you understand how the course works and to become acquainted with the instructor and other students in this course. Each week we will complete a module that includes reading a chapter in the online text, discussion, and frequent written assignments that help you to personalize the information learned in this course. This course is also transferable as a general education course to the CSUC, including San Diego State University. It is also UC transferable as an elective. I hope that you find this course enjoyable and personally meaningful. Let me know if I can help along the way. My goal is your success.
So as you can see, that's an app called Telegami, and I'll put that on the screen later. As I'm going along, if you have questions, I think this is a small group. I can answer the questions. Just put your question in the chat window, and Tamara will read out the questions. So each chapter has like a 2-minute introduction, or each week has a 2-minute introduction. And one of the things I've done in my online course to personalize it a little bit is I have a page that's called Meet the Instructor. So it gives a little bit about my background and my personal philosophy. And then I have some family photos in here. So here's a photo of me with my children and grandchildren and even the dog. So it becomes more personal. And then I talk about some of my hobbies. I like skiing at Lake Tahoe. So here I am skiing with my children and grandchildren. I love riding my bike in Kauai. So here's a picture of me with my bike in Kauai. Here's a picture of Thanksgiving at our family. So you can see that we have a large family. And I'm from New Mexico. This is a picture of Camel Rock near where I grew up. And I emphasize the fact that I do speak Spanish, hablo español. Our college is close to the Mexican border, so we have lots of students who speak Spanish and lots of immigrant students. How to get full credit on the discussions. We start discussions on the first week, so I use a cartoon, and this is a Powtoon, where you can go in and create a character and put in whatever you want. So here are examples of minimal responses that don't earn any credit. If you just say, oh, nice post, or awesome, definitely, I agree, then that really doesn't earn credit. And so here are some examples of replies that earn full credit. And then the first discussion is introduce yourself to the class. And there's some suggestions here. And then students can create a video inside Canvas and upload it. It's interesting. One of the questions I have, do you have a pet that you can show? Lots of people had their pets, and it's a good way to break the ice and get to know other people is through their pets. And then there is a quiz on the syllabus. This is just a Canvas quiz, a 10-point Canvas quiz. And then I have resources for students. These are resources that the college provides. So that's module 1. Then module 2, we get into the subject matter. The first chapter is on motivation. And again, there is a video introduction. There is a short video on how to access and navigate the online textbook. There's how to get credit on the full credit on the journal entries. And again, there are samples of full credit journal entries, how to get full credit on the quizzes. And then chapter 1, I'm going to change to student view here and show you what the student would see here. So as the student clicks on chapter 1, it takes them to the textbook. And we're going to accept cookies here. So these are the chapters in the textbook, Understanding Motivation. And I completed that chapter as a sample student to show you how it works. Exploring your personality and major, and then exploring multiple intelligences, interests, and values. Planning your education and career, managing time and money. Improve your memory, improve your study skills, taking notes, writing and speaking, test taking, communication and relationships, thinking critically and creatively, empower yourself, strategies for success. That's my newest chapter on mental and physical health, and thinking positively about the future. And if you purchase any of my textbooks, you can choose which chapters you want, so it is personalized. But let's take a look at the first chapter as a student would view it. So the chapter begins with a pre-quiz, and these are based on the student learning outcomes. And then again, the chapter preview based on the student learning outcomes. There's a short amount of text on the page. What is the value of a college education, for example? And how much is it worth? It's actually worth about $400 an hour if you break it down hour by hour, looking at lifetime improvement in income. And then there's a journal entry. So the whole idea is there's a short amount of text, and then I ask students to think about it and how it applies to their personal life, and then they can write a journal entry. And I ask them to write about 5 sentences in that journal entry. And then I can see these journal entries online and make comments about them. Show you some of the interactivity here. One of the topics that's in most FYE courses is mindset. What is a growth mindset? What is a fixed mindset? And so again, a small amount of text, the key ideas here in bullet points, and then an interactive activity. Respond to each question with an honest answer about what you have believed up to now. So for example, people are born with a certain amount of intelligence that cannot be changed. Do you agree with that or disagree with that? I appreciate feedback on my performance and use it to improve my skills. I can take on challenges and don't mind completing schoolwork that is difficult. These are automatically scored, and then a message is given to the student that says you scored 34 out of 40, 85%. And by the way, I don't count this in the grade, it's part of participation. And it says you have a growth mindset that will help you to be successful in college. If the score is low, then it gently suggests to the student to go back and reread the material. I have a background in counseling and like to think positively, so my messages are always positive to the students. Here's another example of interactivity. The importance of grit. What is grit? It's a never give up attitude. What's more important, talent or grit? How do famous people achieve excellence? And so I looked out at famous people, maybe sports stars, football players, Olympic gold medalists, musicians. How much time do they put into whatever they're doing to become an expert? And how does it apply to students? And how can you develop grit? And then it says, how gritty are you? I have a never give up attitude. And then you can rate yourself. I spend a significant amount of time studying each week. A good grade is always possible with the right effort. Failure is an opportunity to figure out what went wrong. So a nice little assessment there. And it says you scored 27 out of 40, 68%. So the comment here is you have many qualities of a gritty person, but could benefit from thinking more about how to increase your grit. So immediate feedback, that's something important, and then a comment to the student. And then again, there is a journal entry, and I ask students to write 5 intention statements about improving their mindset and grit. And I can see this material online. I'll show you the faculty point of view here when I finish some of the sample from the student. Here's another example of interactivity. One of the topics in motivation is positive thinking, optimism versus pessimism. What is it? And here's the activity. My chances of graduating from college are good. Do you agree with that or disagree? I am confident that I can overcome any obstacles to my success. And again, it is scored. It says you scored 42 out of 50, 84%. You're a good, positive thinker. And again, a journal entry. Maybe just a couple more pages here and then I'll move on. Let's move on to this one, locus of control. Who's in control? Is it internal or external? And here's some sample statements, and students are to judge whether it's internal or external. If I do poorly on the test, it's because I didn't study or didn't understand the material. That's internal locus of control. And again, immediate feedback. This one's already graded, so it says correct. And then there is a summary page. So a quick overview of all the ways you can improve motivation. And then the journal entry says, make a list of 5 ideas you can use to improve motivation. Include any of these ideas: mindset, grit, positive thinking, finding interest, concentration, attention, intrinsic motivation, locus of control, affiliation, achievement, and using rewards. The quiz is also built into the chapter. It's automatically scored and placed in your grade book. This is what the quiz looks like. So here's the quiz. Oh, wait. That's the post. This is the quiz right here. So here's the chapter quiz. It's a multiple choice. Again, it is immediately scored, so the students have feedback right away, and then that quiz grade is automatically entered in the grade book. And then at the first, there were questions about the student learning outcomes, and so the last page compares what you did with the first quiz and the last one. So here's again at the end, you get to rate yourself on the student learning outcomes. The pre-quiz, it was 10 out of 35, 29%. The post-quiz was 34 out of 35, 97%. And then you can see a comparison of the scores when I go back to this chapter. So here are the graded results for that chapter. This is what I can see online. I'll show you the faculty point of view. So when I'm looking at the student work online, I can see that they earned a 90% on the quizzes. I can see that they completed all the activities in the chapter. And then here's a comparison of the pre and post quiz. So the pre-quiz on the student learning outcomes are the green ones, and the post the blue. So you can see in a visual way how much you've learned in the chapter. And then you can see all the journal entries. And I have graded this and provided feedback. So the maximum is 10. This person got 10 points. And I provided feedback. I said, great work on the journal entries. They show that you are motivated to complete your education. I like your idea of asking for help when needed. Keep up the good work. So they can see my comments right there inside the textbook. Going to show just a little bit on this chapter, maybe a couple of pages. One of the things that I do in my class is I help students with career planning early in the semester. I work at a community college, and I found that students drop out quickly unless they have a clear vision of what their future is and why they're going to college and what their major is. So we start working early on personal strengths and major planning, and then move on into the academics. And so the career assessments are integrated into the chapters. So this is the chapter on personality, and they take the personality assessment right inside the chapter. So I have the opportunity to explain personality theory, why it's important in a simple way. And then students take the assessment right within the chapter. And the assessment is clickable. So for example, you probably recognize some of these terms if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs. extrovert, introvert. So it says, what is an introvert? What is an extrovert? So it's clickable. You can find information. It has a nice profile that's very positively written. What I like about this assessment too, it's a point on a continuum. With Myers-Briggs, it's an either or. So I like having the flexibility of, yes, I'm an introvert, but not totally. Actually, it looks like I'm pretty definite on my choices here. So a nice positive description of my personality type. One of the assignments I have is to make a list of adjectives that describe your personality type, and then go to wordcloud.com and make a word cloud out of it. And I'm thinking about working with AI and helping students to write some sentences about their personality type and then put it through AI to make a poem or something like that. So new ideas here. And then it talks about how your personality type affects learning. So for example, I'm organized, methodical, careful, accurate. I'm good at memorizing, deadline driven. I'm independent. Here's some challenges that I might have, some recommendations. So it talks about how it affects learning, work, and productivity, how I communicate with others, how I work with others. Here's my favorite part here, career and pathways. So it talks about, here are some careers that match my personality type. If I'd taken this assessment when I was 18, I probably would have become an engineer. So let's see, robotics engineering here. So what is that? I can click on that and it tells me what is a robotics engineer, what is the career outlook, what are some similar careers. Let's see if I can get out of this here. Here we go, close. And then also I can go out onto Indeed.com from here, and I can find openings in the area. So I have students write about a career that matches their personality, and it can be based on any state or any location. So lots of nice interactive features there. And it looks like it knocked me out of the Canvas demo here, so. Okay, so I wanted to show you from the faculty point of view what these chapters look like here.
And feel free to type any questions you may have into the chat. We're happy to answer them as well, now that you've seen kind of the student portion, if there's any questions.
Okay, so from the faculty point of view, if I click on chapter 1, then I can see my students' work. Accept cookies here. So I can see all the students in my class and who's completed their chapters on that view. Here's a chapter that I haven't graded. So it'll say these students have finished, and it'll list them here. And then here are chapters that need to be graded. So here's one that needs to be graded. So this is what I would see for each one of my students. Here are the journal entries. I can read them here on this one screen. I can assign them a grade. I can make a comment to the student. And there's some grading notes. I have a nice positive comment here, and I usually put a needs improvement comment, so I can cut and paste this comment and then add some details from reading their journal entries so that it's more personalized. And then once I save and close this, then it goes to the grade book. The grade is for the chapter is comprised of 50% on the quiz, 50% on the journal entries, and then that is placed in my grade book. So if I go over here under grades, my grade book, here's the chapter 1. I've graded this test student, and this score is placed here. So 9 points, the student received 9 out of 10 on the quiz, 10 out of 10 on the journal entries. So they have 19 points for chapter 1. So I have a module on each one of the chapters. For my online class, I have a discussion, I have an assignment, and then I give a participation grade on my online class, 10 points for completing your work on time. There's lots of participation in the chapters. I found this is a good motivation for keeping students on track in my online class. And then again, I have resources for students. So each one of the weeks has a different module with the interactive chapters, the automated grading. So I'm wondering if anybody has questions, and while you're thinking of a question, here's the access to my Canvas account. So you're welcome to copy that down. You can also email me if you have any questions. I like to hear from faculty. I am now retired. I'm no longer teaching, so I work as a consultant. I present at conferences. I do professional development sessions. So I'd like to hear from people, any general questions that you have. Tamara, do we have any questions in the chat window?
We don't at this point. And so I'll also just let people know that we do have as well an excellent customer support team that's available if you purchased a product with us, and they are happy and to help you out. So I don't see any questions at this point. And if you want to move on to the next slide, Marsha, I think we have one more.
Okay. I also see that Rachel Rode is here. Rachel Rode is from customer service. And so they're really responsive. They reply very quickly if I have any questions. At the bottom of the page, there's a question mark. Students can get assistance really quickly also. They help everybody set up their accounts. So if you have questions that are more technical than I could answer as a faculty, if you want to know more details, Rachel Rode is here too. So consider that if you'd like to ask more technical questions.
Yeah,
For
Rachel,
sure.
you want to jump
Yeah, my camera's not working, but I am here.
in? No
Hi,
problem.
Rachel.
So yeah, I'm happy to answer any of those technical questions. That's definitely more our area of expertise, and Dr. Fralick is definitely more the methodology and the usage of the materials side of things. But Carla did also put in the chat. Carla is our rockstar sales rep who will be your first point of contact if you are a new customer. But Carla put in, we do provide training at no cost. So that would be webinar training with a member of our team. And like Marsha said, we try to be very responsive to any kind of support inquiries. We do have a live chat feature that's available for both students and faculty. That's been a huge boon to us, because anyone who works with undergrads can tell you that sometimes getting them to respond to emails can be like pulling teeth. So getting them on a live chat, having them share their screen, it helps us resolve issues way faster than we were able to in the past with just phone and email. So
Okay.
yeah, that's my little spiel.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Rachel. It's great that you could attend
Yeah.
today. So for academic questions, if you have any questions about any topics that are taught in the first year experience course, if you have questions about career assessments, if you have questions about how to set up your Canvas account, I'd love to hear from you. It makes my day to hear from faculty, so it can be general on any topic. And then if you would like complimentary guest access to view these materials, you can either contact me or you can contact Carla down at the address below.
Absolutely. And just so everybody knows, there will be a email going out as well to everybody who's registered to provide you with that guest access. That email will come from Carla, so you can just reply if you do have a question to let her know. And she'd be happy to find out the answer. And I wanted to thank everybody for their time today and thank Dr. Fralick once again for sharing her knowledge with us and her expertise. It's greatly appreciated. Today is the first session of 4 webinars that we're hosting, so hope you'll take the time to have a look at humanesources.com/fall-webinars and see if there's something else on the schedule that piques your interest. And there's also a quick survey after this session that will pop up. And if you can take a few, promise 2 minutes, and answer them, that really helps us know how we're doing and where we can improve. And thank you so much once again today. Have a great
Yes.
day.
Thanks for attending.